Right, so we're back on Classic now. I've got a Druid Hunter combo. When I was in the middle of a quest called Relics of Awakening, I've given up on it. It's absolute arsehole. Couldn't find one of the things. And the problem with going around with two characters, you can just sort of see the other one there, is possibly overall, particularly at lower levels, it may be a more efficient way of leveling if you want to level several. But it's not as helpful as you might think. And it can get you into trouble. So basically it involved going through a den of furbolgs and quite closely packed, and whenever you got surprised by one, then you could get into a bit of a flap when you're trying to change from one character to the other and get onto the wrong one. It all goes badly wrong. Good evening, Gareth. So I'm sure this is definitely a quicker way of leveling. Should I go this way? Than doing one at a time. You know, until such time as I can decide which ones I want to do. Problem is it takes so long to level in this that at some point probably I'll just ought to choose one. So this is the way I deal with this. So you can do a bit of tag teaming. A druid now, yeah. Well, that's what my druid was called. I actually don't know where that druid is now on my accounts. I'm not sure it is. It may still be somewhere on retail. But that's what my druid was called. Oh, stop resisting. Pain in the arse. This is the problem with casters. Absolute pains in the arse. So I'm sort of switching between the two. Oh, I still can't do mage roll. Not far off, but not quite. It is really weird. I remember this actually from sort of vanilla-y times for professions. It's quite rich in herbalism type stuff, but zero mining until you get out into the main zones. This I am wondering if this tag teaming might go better once they're level 10, because, well, then I'll do the quest to get bear form on the druid and a pet for the hunter. Might be a lot easier then. I know someone in the comments last week when I was talking about, oh, you know, characters, which characters should I do and stuff like that, because it is still very... The thing I'm thinking about at the moment is potentially warrior tag team with the mage in human lands and... well, druid and hunter here. I have sort of got a rogue and a priest in dwarf lands as well, but they're not. They're the lowest levels of all of them. Right. Gone too far this way. I'm not interested in you. Don't want to aggro you. Don't mind aggroing you. Because the professions I've got on this one as well. The thing is, I'm a sucker for professions. And I know that the most efficient way, particularly as a casual, to approach this game would be to do what these are doing. Like, my druid is a herbalist and with the intention of picking up mining, and my hunter is a skinner with the intention of putting on mining. Yes, it's yeah, second account, that's right. So I'm one away. Oh no, I'm two away. Anyway, so yeah, so this is probably the best way to do professions on two characters. So you've got skinning, mining, herbalism, and alchemy. Because over on my warrior, I've got blacksmithing. I really like doing professions, but in actual fact, it's not very efficient because professions in WoW have always been rubbish. Alchemy is useful. Even enchanting, which is more difficult at this point of the game because there's no Vela, are still... You're better off getting a gathering thing, selling all your stuff, and then paying for the enchants from someone else. Because as a casual player, you're not going to get the good enchants anyway. Zero chance of that. You're glad Classic exists. You find yourself bored of spending any time in it earning gold because that erases all the work you've done. Gold in life. Yeah, there is. Yes. I mean, my personal view on it, this is just my personal view, is that if... Oh, let's just kill this thing. If they'd have never got rid of this content from the game, then I wouldn't be playing this now. There's things about this that in some ways I like more than, you know, in retail. But there are other parts of it that are not as good. You know, the definite improvements have been made. And also I did this at the time as well. I mean, that's why the one character I was never going to do in Classic was a Paladin. Because I did the Paladin all the way through. Whereas at least these other characters, I did have a mage at level 60. But other classes, I leveled them. I cycled around them. But I would get them to like level 30, 40 and then delete them or something. So I never actually went all the way through with other classes apart from mage. Freshening WoW, the worst in any MMO you've played since 1999. I mean, they are for me. I think, well, in terms of the ones that I've really engaged with, like Age of Conan, I've got no great...
Listening.
I'll read this in a minute. No great recollection, but you know, Lord of the Rings Online, the way I judge it is how useful is it is to you personally while you're leveling. It's very useful in Lord of the Rings Online. It's very useful in Elder Scrolls Online. It's very useful in Star Wars The Old Republic. In this, it's not at all useful. Like, you know, on my warrior, my blacksmith, for example. So I've been spending a lot of time running after mining nodes and stuff like that, and making stuff and skilling up and slowing down my leveling, quite frankly, in order to get the blacksmithing done. Just as I did originally with my first character, which wasn't blacksmithing, but still, I kept up to pace with the professions, which is not an efficient way to do it. And then you're looking at the best things you can make. And I'm ahead of the game on the blacksmithing. I am ahead of the game. And the best things I can make with blacksmithing are not as good as things that are not that expensive on the auction house. So I could be selling the iron, the copper ore and the rough stone and stuff like that, and just purchasing stuff, like green BOEs that are better quality. Ultimate Online professions were great, but they counted as a portion of your talents. It does that in Elder Scrolls Online, but I'm fine with that. So you had to weigh the investment against other combat skills. I mean, yeah, I'm fine with it in ESO. I'm quite happy with it. You don't like how much of a grind it is to level in Classic and also being forced to quest to get the best XP because mob grinding is rubbish. But isn't that better? You should be encouraged to quest, shouldn't you? But that's why I've given up on this Relics of Awakening, quest. Because it was utter horseshit. My problem now is... I'm just stuck doing these ones because... God, I sounded angry there. I don't want to go to human lands with this, get to level 10, then have to come back to do my level 10 quests. So I want to be in elf lands when I hit level 10, which means I need to be here. Where am I filling this up? I must visit the last moonwell to the northwest of the Oracle Glade. Where the pissing hell is that? Right, I suspect that's near Danasus. That's something I don't miss, when it didn't give you the information somewhere often it did. It didn't always give you the information you need. Northwest of the Oracle Glade. Pissing hell is that? So I'm going to guess over here. Seeing as it's not anywhere else I've been. ESO gives you enough ways to get all the profession maxed out and still get all the combat skills you want. Yes, it does. Absolutely, yeah. Okay, I mean, I've no experience of Ultima Online if it didn't there. But even then, you know, I do like professions, and that's why I'm a sucker for it. What I've done with these two characters, and the problem is I've done it with these two characters. If I'm honest, I'm not sure these are the two characters I would end up going with, because the Druid I would have as restoration, but I'm not really keen on resto healing. I have to say I'm not a fan in any of its forms, really. And as for the hunter, now, okay, I don't know what a hunter is like in Classic, but I remember in Vanilla they were often shunned in groups. Even if, I mean, apart from anything else, groups often don't want a DPS, but if they do, there are several problems with a hunter. First of all, they don't actually bring you anything. They do nothing for you. They don't bring conjured items, they don't bring portals, they don't bring summoning, you know. They don't even bring really crowd control, or very good crowd control at any rate. Whereas, and the other problem is that quite a lot of people had very poor pet management control. And of course, Beastmaster was the best spec for when you were just soloing. Traps were not great CC because you had to lure things into them, hence trap. Whereas a mage or a rogue can just apply their crowd control, whatever it's doing. They don't have to lure it anywhere. So it's not great CC. So I'm just thinking, as someone who'd be sort of playing this on their own, not active, and just needing to get into groups, you're better off either being a tank, in which case are you going to be protection spec'd on my warrior? No. I think you can tank most dungeons fine as Fury, but again, I don't know how the community responds to it, because obviously I've only just started playing this, so I don't know how the community is. Is it of the view that, yeah, of course you can tank a dungeon as Fury, or is it of the view, no, because I'm going to do too much DPS? I don't know. So really what I ought to do is play a character, play a class, where the spec I choose will be fully in tune with its... I should be able to do this now. I can, hooray. Fully in tune with what its main role is in the game. Because although there was a lot of nonsense in Vanilla about certain roles and which were viable and not, I get the impression people aren't as stubborn about it now. But there will still be some issues. Oh, excuse me. But traps are still great. CC just required skill. Yeah, but you could have someone else's CC that requires no skill. And again, you're talking about pugs. You're not talking about a group of friends or a group of guildies. You're talking about a pug. If you're choosing, if you want a DPS in your group and you've got a hunter or a mage, you go for the mage every time. And I cannot imagine that is different now. And every time, because hunter required a certain level of skill, that, if we're honest, mage didn't. Certainly frost mage, what I would do. Spam the old frost bolts. Then, you know, what will inevitably happen is your experience of mages... My volume keeps going up here. Your experience of mages... of hunters will be, oh, I was in this group once and their pet was all over the place pulling everything under the sun and we wiped so many times. Oh, and there was this other time and we just wanted them to crowd control this thing and they were useless and they couldn't do it. And all these little stories just build up in your psyche. But part of me would think, whichever two classes I go for, I probably should just have herbalism, alchemy, and mining and skinning. Because don't get involved in the professions. But then I don't know which two classes to do. Plenty of major screw up polymorph. Yeah, but how? Way fewer than hunters will screw up because you can't. Most of the time when a polymorph goes wrong, it's because some numpty puts a dot on the mob you all agreed you were going to polymorph, or does damage to it once it's polymorphed. That's the main way a polymorph goes wrong. And the two classes now 11. Wouldn't the hunter do more damage than the druid at my level? No, well, no, I'm doing a tag team, look. I do a bit with the druid. The reason I've got the druid for preference on the screen is because they're a herbalist. So I'm keeping an eye on... the hunter is actually doing most of the damage here. But then the hunter will pull aggro and then it's a melee hunter. Now, okay, I've got my blacksmith to make a dagger for them. So yeah, they've got better weapons. But the main reason I'm on my druid for preference is so that I can see the herbs. Whereas the skinner, because there's no mining nodes in Teldrassil, then there's no mining to be done, so the hunter is just a skinner, so I don't need to be on the lookout for that. But yeah, casters, you forget actually after so many years just what a pain in the arse it is for spell resists. You know, when mana is a thing. I mean, this is the key thing from this period. Mana was an issue in a way that it isn't in the modern game. So if something did, you know, if your spell didn't work very well or something, you wouldn't. I mean, you don't get resist really, do you nowadays? But you wouldn't sweat it if you did, because you've got the mana. You just keep doing it. The pushbacks are annoying as well, but Oracle Glade. Hold on, where did they say? Northwest, I bet, which means I'm on the wrong bloody side. No, actually it doesn't tell you where. If you pre-ordered Shadowlands, have I done the transmog quest? I haven't done any. No, I haven't. But the transmog quest for the Eternal Traveller set? No, I haven't. I don't know what that is. At some point I will sort of mix more time between, you know, this and Classic. I mean, I have to say, you know, this was a reason why I did say when people were suggesting, oh, you know, you should do some Classic. And I thought, it's like the age-old thing. There are lots of games I enjoy playing. I enjoy playing WoW, ESO, Star Wars The Old Republic, Warhammer and stuff in terms of tabletop. And I was thinking, you know, I don't really need another game. And then, like an idiot, I played it a bit, and of course this is one I've done before anyway. I played it a bit, and now I'm wanting to play it. So, I just hate you all. Because nostalgia is a powerful drug. Even though questing the elf, like, I would take these to human lands when they're finished here, because the elf lands, I don't know where this bloody thing is. All this, it's really good story. It's bloody good. The questing in here, from a lore point of view, is excellent. However, it's also largely retconned. Oh. Has that seen me? It has, hasn't it? Hello, sorry, I'll just let me just get shooting this thing and then I'll respond to that comment. This double teaming is awkward. Not seen my content lately because you got fed up with WoW, or also possibly because I haven't really done much content lately. But having a blast with Classic, glad to see Classic content on the channel. Well, I mean, how much? I may alternate. I mean, I will ultimately probably. It was I don't know, because I did put a poll up for what I should do, and it was fairly close. So I don't know what to do next week. Because I will be pottering about on this during the week. I should also potter about on retail. Do I just alternate it each week, or do I just put it up for a poll each week? In which case it might always be Classic winning by a narrow margin. I don't know. But anyway, bit random question. What do I think of the bot in AFK and in BGs? Been plaguing Classic right now. Right, I don't know. I wouldn't go into them. I wouldn't be doing them.
Isn't ready yet. That's still recharging.
Stop. You attack the bloody thing. Right, hold on.
That's still recharging.
Yeah, rejuve's bloody useless.
That spell isn't ready yet.
Let's put thorns on it as well. Yeah. But yeah, if there's a bot problem in Battlegrounds in this, which of course I've not dipped my toe into and wouldn't really wish to anytime soon, then I mean it's probably because, to be fair, like what Blizzard did say is right. Okay, we're doing Classic. They didn't really want to do it, remember, or at least a significant proportion of the influential people didn't want to do it. They resisted it for so long. When I thought they should have done it, but it's quite clear they didn't really want to put that much into it. You know, because think about what happened. Like when they first announced they were doing Classic, remember what they said? It wasn't going to detract from retail. You know, it was going to have its own team dealing with it. And then what happens? You have a bloody Q&A with Ian Hazakostas talking about all the decisions they've made with Classic WoW, which means he's involved and his team's involved. In which case it is taken away from bloody retail. But by and large, they don't want to spend an excessive amount of time on it. So I imagine there's a lot of things that you would want to tidy up. I mean, the other thing is that some people just have an attitude, you know, like with bugs, they don't want bugs removing or something. I don't get that either. There were a lot of people that wanted lots of different things with this. Lots of mutually exclusive features, you know. Oops. Ah, community fall. Oh, pissy now. Why the hell did that respawn?
I can't cast that yet.
Anyway, to play blah blah blah. Don't think any of us are too hopeful with Shadowlands, just thinking BFA was bad. Chances are it could be better. Right, I mean, I was thinking of doing a video on that, but basically my thoughts on it would be, I mean, I've articulated these thoughts before as well. I've got the wrong person here. BFA was obviously bad at launch. So they had to change lots of it, which means that the people who should have been doing the... hang on a minute, this is the wrong way around. Need the herbalist on top. The people who should have been working on Shadowlands, some of them were retained to fix BFA. I don't know how many. Which means that then Shadowlands won't have had as much time spent on it as it should do. So there will have been the fact that BFA was more, they bit off more than they could chew, will inevitably have a knock-on effect on Shadowlands. I cannot see how it won't. Now they may have more realistic ambitions of Shadowlands, in which case it may not come out as badly. But I really don't. I don't put it this way. I don't see how it can possibly be an expansion jam-packed with features and all working well. You know, they'll either have a more limited range of features that works well, which is probably the best thing to do. Blood feather. Oh,
Be
harpies.
careful. I am honored.
Or they'll try and jam in loads of features again and do them badly. The other problem with dual tagging I've noticed as well, I've not done it too bad, I've not been too bad with it, but sometimes you'd go and do a quest where you have to press on a thing and you do it with one and not the other and you forget and then you... crap. Now, I don't know where these harpies are. But anyway. People are too hopeful for Shadowlands just because they believe in every second expansion, bad other one, good logic. Yeah, that doesn't... No, that doesn't work. Right, I don't know where these harpies are then. Let's just do a little circuit. But the thing is, I mean, you say, you know, you'll feel like they'll do better with Shadowlands because of the backlash they got with BFA. It's an issue of competence. The issues they had with BFA were all predictable. And they were told, Blizzard were told about them and chose to ignore the feedback they were getting. I do not see, and okay, I've not followed them as closely, but I do not see any evidence from what I have seen of them recently that they have learnt that lesson. I'm sure they will do what they did in Legion and at the end of it go, oh right, yeah, we've learnt this lesson about this, and sound convincing, and then completely ignore what they said they were going to do to improve matters. Hey, I'm shooting at my bloody Druid, you pain in the ass.
That's still recharging.
Absolute bell end. But yeah, this is the problem with the tag team. Sometimes have to react on a thing and remember which account's which. Right, hit monkey. Should have cut their losses with BFA. See, I'm not sure they could. They did that with Warlords of Draenor. But the problem with that is, can they really risk... Could they risk it again? Could they risk doing that again? I'm not so sure. I think they were just stuck. Completely stuck. On the one hand, they couldn't just abandon BFA. They had to make some improvements. On the other hand, they're not... You know, Ian Hazacostas has argued for a long time he needs more staff for this and more staff for that. At the end of the day, I mean, he hasn't been getting it, but also, I'm not convinced he does. I just think he's very bad project manager. Oh, crap. I'm letting my bloody Druid
That
down.
spell isn't ready yet.
Probably instead of listening to players, they're going off analytics. Yeah, but they don't understand the analytics. Like, they don't survey us. We don't get surveyed. I mean, they haven't got any data to analyse. Oh, some earthroot there. So your Horde character is thinking, Horde, what Horde? These are just a bunch of evil people. What? Where? Oh, what? In retail? I mean... Well... I mean, they're not all, because some of the good guys are Horde as well. And also, you've got a bad guy in Elias. You've got Tyrande. She's always been an arsehole, right from Warcraft 3 when she was introduced. She murdered her own people in Warcraft 3. And Malfurion did nothing, so he's not exactly whiter than white either. Systems took too long to get going and working out in classes are terrible. Well, I mean, yeah. See, this is what Blizzard need to stop. They keep trying to come up with new systems for a new expansion. Oh, it's a rare. Oh, goody. Let's put some effort into this one then. Do I get a shiny thing? No, I don't get a shiny thing. Tyrande is terrible. She murders her own people. She, you know, she won't make peace even with people. Like, she went off on a strop because of Sylvanas. Sylvanas is no longer part of the Horde. And yet, by refusing to accept peace, she's going to have more of her own people killed. Even if you accept that she doesn't care about innocent Horde people, her own people are going to die. She's a terrible person. I don't know that Rexar's a saint, but you know, he's not a bad sort. All things, when you consider the world they exist in. What am I doing here? I've got the wrong person following them. Maybe I need to research multi-boxing. Don't know how it's actually done. What was Tyrande right about? She's basically, as well, it's also lazy writing because all Tyrande has done is taken over from what Jaina was as well. For the narrative in BFA, they had to have Jaina come round, so then they've just gone back to Tyrande being a dick. Classes were so poor at the beginning of BFA because we had Essences and Azerite coming. It wasn't just that, there were fundamental problems as well with the way they were working. With some specs, that is. But yeah, I mean, but this is the problem. I mean, I was saying at the time, because obviously I was still playing very much at the time.
That spell isn't ready yet.
Things like that. You've got a new system in the game, which is going to affect some classes and specs and roles more than others in a way they're not really thinking about. I need to pick my way through this lot now. And they shouldn't be doing that. What they should do, instead of having a new system every expansion, just, you know, improve your systems. Other MMOs don't feel the need to do this. I cannot emphasize that enough. They... You know, ESO, which is now a bigger game than WoW. It's not as big as WoW used to be, but it's a bigger game than WoW is now. And that doesn't feel the need to change systems every expansion. It changes when changes are needed. And also, they're pretty good at listening to their customers as well. Because Elder Scrolls Online was an absolute shocker when it first came out. It was dreadful. I was so excited for it. I played a bit of the weekend betas, and it was amazing. And I was so disappointed with the actual finished product. Well, the release product, should we say, because it wasn't an actual like, finished. Right, done that.
I need a target.
Oh no, sorry. How is ESO bigger? Got more subscribers. There was a little bit of doubt because obviously the various you know, companies don't always release data on it, but it was sort of pieced together that ESO probably overtook World of Warcraft about a year ago, and you've now got to think if it was sort of roundabout the same then, by now it certainly has to be in ESO's favour. So Final Fantasy has more than ESO. Final Fantasy 14 may do. I don't know anything about Final Fantasy. I'm not saying ESO is the biggest MMO. What I'm saying is it's almost certainly bigger than WoW right now. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if WoW has been overtaken by more than one.
What brings you here? Farewell.
I don't want to go to Damascus just yet. I might as well, I suppose. I've got another quest to take there
How
anyway.
may I help? Goddess, watch over you.
Like ESO, what I would say the difference between them, ESO is a much better game
That spell is
from a casual point of view. But I wouldn't like to play it seriously because there's aspects of class mechanics, or just combat mechanics I should say really, that I think are poor. And but as a casual game it's its way to. Whereas WoW doesn't really have a lot for a casual player. I mean, WoW, I mean, I don't know. Is that even on, could that even be confidently described as being on significantly over 2 million now? Oh, okay. I don't know what, okay. Silverleaf, Earthroot.
I'm out of range.
And why doesn't Blizzard listen to WoW, to fans about WoW? Because they're arrogant. It's that simple. Like the way ESO worked, because I played it at launch, I was really excited, and it was full of bugs, it was full of shit. There wasn't that much content. When it was clear, they kept trying to say they made it as a PC game, and then we realised they could do it for console as well. No, it was made for console. The PC was a beta version of it. That's why the PC version was released first, and when it went really badly, they had release dates for Xbox and PS4 and they cancelled it. because they thought we cannot
I
let
can't
it
cast that.
go out like this for console, because that's obviously their primary market. But, you know, so I ended up obviously stopping playing the game because, you know, it was absolutely dreadful. It was not fit for purpose. Which way to go around here? But then when I returned, I, you know, heard they'd made some changes, and they were absolutely phenomenal, because what they'd done is they had addressed all the concerns and just made it a far, far better game. And everyone was raving about it. And that's what you need to do. Because if you have a bad release, it's difficult to recover from that. But you need to be honest about what the problems are and not put your egos in it. And accept that certain things that you thought were good features were not good features. And now sometimes that's hard, because sometimes you think a feature is good. And you'll still be convinced it's good. But you have to go with the majority, you have to go with your customers. And they don't do that. You know, Ian Hazakostas just treats players as if they're dim. He spends all his time defending his rubbish instead of actually listening. Do I think WoW has many years left? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. As many years as they want it to. Because you don't need... Like, you know, you look at, okay, WoW might have about 2 million subscribers now. Thereabouts, give or take. I'm sure it goes up and down. And you think, well, you know, from its heyday, that's next to nothing. Oh, it's really badly declined. It's only a matter of time before the game's dead. That is still way more subscribers than you need for it to be viable. And I don't just mean because, you know, even the amount that Blizzard spend on expansions, and it's quite clear, to be fair, they spend a lot of money on their teams and their resources. It's still a drop in the ocean compared to what they make from WoW. Because remember, it's not just about subs as well. You can't compare the number of subs they have now with the number they had, say, 10 years ago, because they make more money from the fewer number of subscribers that they have from... Oh, it's not on here. Of course it's not on here. But the online store. So, you know, they can still make a lot of money with fewer subscribers. So from a financial point of view, it's not necessarily bad. What do you mean middle-aged man plays female WoW characters? The Druids. Have you seen male Druids? Have you seen male Druids? Are you seriously suggesting... I said Druids, I meant Nelfs, of course. Are you seriously suggesting I should have a male Nelf? You're crazy. There are certain races you cannot play as male. Although, that being said, there is another benefit as well. Like I was saying this when I made my mage character. I actually made a mistake. Because what I should have done with the mage is I made my mage human male. And I shouldn't have done. I should have made them a human female. Because never underestimate the power of teenage boys to do something nice for a female character just in case they're actually female. Because they don't know. I made the Warlock female, but I'm probably not going to play much of the Warlock. Male Mechanome, not a chance. I'm probably never even going to unlock the Mechanomes. I don't understand it. Like, you know, when the idea of Mechanomes came out, and I thought, you know, long before we saw what they looked like, I thought, yeah, I can see that happening. You know, give them to the Horde so that they can, so that both factions have gnomes and they can see what it's like as well, instead of laughing at us all the time. And then when they brought them out, I thought, how have you managed to make an even more annoying gnome? Because the Mechanomes in Wrath of the Lich King weren't annoying. They were fine. I had no problems with them. They've actually managed to make them more annoying. Oh yeah, obviously people use Rip Blizzard too lightly if there's one. Yeah, I mean, WoW has... You've got to bear this in mind. WoW has been dying almost as soon as it launched. Okay, not quite. Maybe 2 years after it. 2 years after it, you know, people were proclaiming, oh, this is going to be the death of WoW and stuff like that. It's still going. It will go as long as they need it to. It can be profitable, you know, with 1 or 200,000 subscribers. Now, you know, at some point they'll want to pull the plug. Just... People stop swearing. Oh, this is where I'm in trouble, isn't it? I've got to... Right, hold on. Oh, piss off. So, Fandral Staghelm in Darnassus. I can't remember where it is. I'm going to... Oh, God. Is he in the Cenarian Enclave? Oh, I've got to go to Dolinar for that. And obviously, not as many Griffins about, so... Right, I'm going to guess I go to the Cenarian Enclave first. I remember I explained being a Malay and had to deal with squeaking gnome tanks. Yeah, that was torture. It was not even remotely funny. I mean, that didn't start, to be fair, till TBC, because I never raided with anyone in vanilla that was a gnome tank. I saw the odd gnome warrior, but thankfully I didn't have to, they were never in my guild. I was in 2 different serious raiding guilds in vanilla. None of them had gnome warriors, thank goodness. They had gnome mages, that was pretty bad. And gnome warlocks, that was also quite bad.
Greetings.
Oh, what does he want now?
Goodbye. Greetings.
Just give me hundreds of XP so I can get to level 10.
Asha Felan.
Oh, what's he promising as a reward for that? Hold on. A knife, which is not as good as the one I've got. No, right, yeah, it isn't. It is here, okay. What annoys you, Staghelm, is his comically baddiness. Well, I mean, he became very bad, didn't he? Okay. I'm not ready for that yet. Oh, you say the dwarves had Tharisen. He wasn't in the Ender Baddie though, was he? You kill him unfairly. So you're actually the baddie in vanilla.
Tyrande has no idea how to lead our people.
Well, he's right about that. But in vanilla, Tharisen turned out to be not a baddie. We murder him. Oops, what am I doing? Right, now what I should do is sell some stuff up and then see if I can afford any shiny things on the auction house. Maybe I should also do some alchemy. Or should I just keep saving these up? I might actually save them up because I really should just save them for whichever character I'm definitely going to take forward to be my alchemist. But I will sell my junk. Lost a lot of it. I have, Nick, yes. It is very much slowed down now, but it's still going down a little bit. Where am I going to sell stuff? Somewhere around here must sell. This will do for now. What did I do? I didn't do anything. A surgeon basically chopped my stomach out. Says, oh, you seem to have a stomach there. We'll soon get rid of that. Oops. Not that one.
Farewell. Ishnu Allah. Good luck, friend.
Right, what have we got here? I've got 24 silver on the Druid and 21 silver on the Hunter. Initially the Hunter was actually gobbling up all the silver because I did have that one as my main character. It was picking up all the loot. But then they spent it on an expensive bow. I say expensive, a green one off the auction house. It didn't actually cost me that much. Not intended to be naive, but has the weight loss made me more affected by cold weather? In some ways, yeah, it is actually really weird. Like, I was told I'll never be warm again, and like November, December, I was actually always really cold when I wouldn't have ordinarily been. But then more recently, even though it's been cold, I've not been as bad. I think I'm adjusting, in actual fact. So I think they may have exaggerated. I mean, let's see here. Intellect and spirit. Oh, there's no buyout on that. That's too expensive. Alright, so the Druid's not buying anything. Is the Hunter going to get something? Oh. Who's putting white? Who's put a blacksmith's hammer on there, for goodness sake? Absolute idiots. Ooh. That's too expensive. Oh, too expensive. Right, so we don't need to buy anything else. Hi Deja, yes, I'm actually having quite a good day. I've been playing private servers for years, yeah, I have a... I wouldn't play a private server as such. But it is nice that they've brought this out now. I just wish I hadn't started playing it because of time. I haven't really started with retail or this. I'm not gonna have a significant amount of time to play on any game. But I am trying to spread what little time I have across several games. So I am literally just gonna bounce between them without any real aims. Do I still play ESO? I mean, I went on it a few times recently. I'm largely going to be waiting for the new expansion. Again, at some point, I may spend a bit more time on it. But at the moment, I'm spending it on this. Like, you know, I was playing Star Wars: The Old Republic, and then I was playing a bit of retail, and now I'm playing a bit of this, and. But I'd like to be able to cycle between them. But literally, in terms of how long I actually have to spend computer games, it's a few hours on a Sunday evening like this now. I want to read where I need to go. I need to go back to dollar now, I think, actually. I'm just going to have to do a bit of running. Then, no time on Monday, really. Unless I get all my videos done in the day, in which case... Oh.
It is too far away.
Oh, they seem to already have one anyway. Tuesday and Thursday I get a bit of time, but again, it's just a few hours. That's basically it. Because I've now got a pattern of life that's incredibly busy. Excuse me. Still like to see me stream Dragon Quest Builders. I don't even know what that is. What is that even? Oh. Dragon Quest Builders. I suspect I'm not going to do that. I mean, another game that people tried to get me to play was Total War Warhammer, for which I now have lots of voucher codes for it because Games Workshop keep giving them away every time you order something. But no, I don't have enough time. Like I've just started a new league campaign thing with Warhammer. I should be having my first game tomorrow. I haven't sorted out my army for that, so I'm going to need to do that after this, as well as other stuff. So I'm in serious danger of. And there comes a point where, especially with an involved game like an MMO, you want to spend a few hours a week on it at least. So you can't spread yourself too thin. So new games, no. And when you say I've decided to play Classic, at some point, I'm cycling between different characters. At some point, if I can't decide which one to go for, do they want one of them? They've already got one of them. Is that the same person that's already done me? At some point, I'll have to try and choose probably one character, because I think even going up high levels, you know, like this is probably not great.
I need to get closer.
Oh no, it's buggered up. I was going to say I haven't actually killed anything for a while. Should I just kill that spider? Maybe I should kill this spider. Without any help from the hunter. Don't poison it, it's not very nice. You recently started ESO, loving it. Not much time to play so many games, but we'll see. Well, because there are basically the way it works is in terms of my intended schedule. So Sunday, I should do for the channel that actually makes me money. I should do 3 videos. Now I've done 2 so far. That's because I had something else to do this morning, so I started late effectively on the work. So I've still got another one to do. Monday I'm supposed to do 3 as well, but I'm also really busy because I still do a bit of part-time teaching, so Monday's one of the days when I do a bit of that, and then I do Warhammer in the evening. But I'm fully expecting to get my final video done today, this evening, before I go to bed, and I also anticipate, I hope I can get the 3 done tomorrow. If I can, then on Tuesday, I'd only have 4 videos to do, which I can do in the daytime, and then I may be able to stream. See, Tuesday and Thursday in general are both days where if I'm up to date, I have the evenings free. And I could put on impromptu streams. I can't this Thursday because I'm off for the evening, but Tuesday possible. And I was thinking, I can't do it as a regular thing. Sunday is the only day I can definitely do it as a regular thing, because Tuesdays and Thursdays also, although they're mostly free, every now and then won't be. But I was thinking of maybe doing a stream on a non-WoW game on on those days anyway. So I could potentially do that. From what you're hearing, a lot of people multi-boxing 5 Majors Farm Gold. I mean, I don't know. I mean, obviously I've known about multi-boxing for many years, but I've never really seriously thought about it. Because normally what would happen, I wouldn't have a tag team like this with 2 accounts. The reason I got 2 accounts was so that I could have a level capped character boost the other characters through things. That's not what's happening here. So in actual fact, I would be open to, but I don't know. I'll have to look up what I need to do to get set up with multi-boxing. I don't know. I have honestly no clue. But if it's feasible, you know, then it might be because I'm thinking looking at this, doing this is not sustainable long term. I'm just looking at it and thinking I can't do this long term. Because when you get, I already get into trouble at times, and once we're getting into dodgier situations with patrols and all the rest of it, not in your nice starter zone, it's going to get tricky. And so I think really what I should do is either look at that, or I'll have to decide to focus on one character at a time. Isobox, what most people... Right, okay, let me make a note of that then. I shall do some research into that. Because that could be a possibility. I could set up my key bindings a little bit weirdly, but just so
Peace
that...
be with you.
You know, because then, you know, because at the moment I have to say, although it's quicker doing this than it is doing two characters,
Asha Fela.
it is not quicker. It's not, sorry, it's not as quick as doing one character. You're not getting any benefit from it. Whereas if you could at least get the benefit from extra DPS. Oh, I shouldn't have bought that many. At level 10 I get to do sharp arrows. Although they cost more, so maybe I'll just stick to the cheap ones anyway. You gave up on retail halfway through 8.2. Been playing Classic ever since. Yeah, I mean, I don't know where I'm going to be with it. I'm going to, you know, I said I'd give BFA a crack, and
I'm listening.
and I'll give Shadowlands a crack as well.
Good luck, friend.
And it probably will just keep coming back to them, if truth be told, even if I don't get on with it.
Greetings. Good luck, friend.
What does he want me to do now? Oh, I've got to go back to Staghelm into Nasus. Alright, nice one. So where am I supposed to go for this quest? In order to keep... Cut down those that wander Wellspring Lake in northern Teldrassil. Oh, okay. We'll go back there then, shall we? I mean, this is something I don't miss. Running up and down like an idiot. You know, but anyway, it is what it is. Oh no, I'm fully well aware that multi-boxing, by the way, is not against terms of service. You know, Blizzard has said in the past they're fine with that, because it's a player playing them. That's fine. After the first 2 weeks of classic nostalgia fade, you realise why am I grinding XP towards doing Blackrock Death, Molten Core, so you went back. There is that as well, of course. Ultimately, yeah, you are going nowhere with it. I am not, at the end of this lot, if I get a character at 60, what I'm not going to be doing is raiding. Zero chance of that. You know, but at the same time, you know, maybe I'll just go off it. Like, you know, Star Wars The Old Republic I started playing again a few weeks ago and going, I really want to get more classes done to get the class quest done. I'm really not doing this. Because I haven't really ever got a character to level cap, as in whatever the latest level cap is. I just keep dipping in and out of it. And I've done it again. I've got into it again and gone, oh, let's do this now. And then I'm doing this. And then at some point, because I've done this all before... Yeah, you know, I don't think... I'm not going to be here in 2 months' time still doing this like I've been doing. I may have come back to it, having given it a rest or something. I don't know. I suppose that's the nature of doing things casually. You just keep cycling around different ones. Never actually getting anywhere with any of them. Hey up, I'm being attacked. What the hell? Will you stop doing that? Do you know, I hate this mouse. The mouse I used to like, they no longer do. So I had to get this other one instead, which is sort of okay, but it's not great. What's my skinning up to now, by the way? Because this is a thing about, and this is annoying as well. So I got skinning on this character at the same time I got herbalism on the druid. But then I couldn't find anywhere that sold a skinning knife. I had to actually get a character, and I'm not saying there isn't one, but it certainly wasn't obvious where it was. I had to get a character from, you know, from Human Lands to post me a skinning knife. Oh no, or did I get it from Donassus? Anyway, I certainly couldn't get it from Donna now. So it was a trek.
I'm out of range.
In BFA, as much problem as you have with the story and systems, at least playing that's fun. Any money you make is permanent. Well, yeah, I mean... And any transmogs you get are permanent as well. I mean, gear in WoW, as in power gear, is always transient anyway. Although it was better in Classic because, you know, like in Wrath of the Lich King, that's the first time I ever stopped playing the game for a bit. I quit the game. I ended up crawling back, but I quit the game for a bit. Now, when I came back to play casually, and I was on my Paladin, but I actually ended up rolling different characters on Horde on a friend's guild. But, you know, to begin with, I just potted about with my old guild doing casual stuff on my Paladin. Now, I left the game at the end of the Nax tier with the best gear in game, best in game. I did not come back. When I came back, my gear was absolute trash. Literal trash. Now, that wasn't the same in WoW. You know, vanilla. Like, if you left at the end of Molten Core and you had really good tier 1 gear, and if you came back, let's say when your guild had done the end of, you know, Blackwing Lair, say, and you just still had your tier 1 gear, you could then still go into Anchorage and be useful. Yes, you'd want to get your tier 2 gear, but you could still be useful. So the gear, it was... You know, the upgrades were narrower than they are, or even were in Wrath. You know, things got out of hand really quickly with gear inflation. Oh, this is going to take a long time for the drop rates. This is one where doing it like this does take a while, of course. Especially when you're not getting any benefit from DPS. When it's a gathering quest, because you need twice as much. And if it's one where the mobs have quite a low drop rate for multiple things you need, you're in half killing a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff. Gear from Molten Core is base up to Nax some items. Yeah, well... Yeah, I suppose some of it was. I mean, the other thing is, well, of course, it sort of had to be like that, I guess, because... This is the right place. Don't kill them. They drop so few pieces of gear. Like, you think about it, in Molten Core, bosses dropped... The early bosses dropped 2 pieces of gear. Later on, they dropped 3. Ragnaros dropped 4. I think maybe Major Domo as well. For 40 people. And there was less transferability between different classes as well. And then, you know, what do you have now? Someone, what is it, 4 or 5 pieces of gear that drop for 20 people now in raids? I mean, I haven't raided in BFA really, so I'm not sure. But it's about that, isn't it, surely? So... I mean, that's why they had to introduce things like Warforge and stuff like that. Because you would gear up so quickly. There were so many pieces of gear. And also, a piece of gear could be useful for lots more classes than it was in vanilla. You say but every week, 2 to 4 drops each boss every week, plus all the other raids. I mean... The fact that other raids were useful as well. Like nowadays, when you finish one raid and the new raid opens up, you've done with that last raid. You don't bother with it anymore. Sometimes, of course, if you can go to the last boss, you might just do that for a bit, for a couple of weeks, and then that's it. Whereas you carried on doing Molten Core and Onyxia's Lair all the way through Blackwing Lair, all the way through. You're hyped and ready for Blackwing Lair, are you? Do you know what? I am not getting anything here. I'm getting 0. What must be? Right. Destroy the timberlings and gather the mossy tumours growing upon them. Yeah, I've got none. I'm getting nothing. But yeah, I would be less hyped for initial stuff, like the suppression room is pretty crap. Oh, I've now got one. Oh, this is going to take forever. Do you know what? My hunter's slightly ahead because I made a bit of a mistake when I created these characters. I had the druid following the hunter, but I forgot to get them to join groups, so the hunter got a little bit ahead on experience. But I'm going to say, as soon as the druid's level 10, I'm stopping. I'm not carrying on with this quest. This is rubbish. Maybe these ones are better. Wrath was start of the current raiding system we have around nowadays. That wasn't until ICC that kicked in. I mean, you know, raiding. I think raiding has fundamentally changed in lots of I think every expansion has seen a massive change to raiding. You know, TBC brought with it the, you know, going from 40 man to 25 man. Wrath brought with it the different modes, and I don't just mean like the hard mode stuff, but you know, you had the different modes for your different sizes of raid as well, of the same raid. Cataclysm brought with it LFR. Mott brought with it scaled raids. They've all brought their own little things with it. Alright, I'm going to ding 10 on this one now. Actually, do you know what I should do? Because I'll have a level 10 quest. I should actually just go... I should stop this quest now. Go to Danasus, get me level 10 quest. And then while I'm doing that, I'll ding on the Druid, won't I? And then the Druid can go and do their level 10 quest. And then I can piss off out of Elflands for a bit. 40-man raid was too much for even the most experienced guild leader. I think 25 is a good number. I don't know. No, you know, you got to bear in mind, with 40-man, you didn't need 40 players to all be coordinated. You know, a good chunk of them, they could be quite limited. The problem is when you reduce the size. In the good guilds, and I was in, you know, at the time I was playing in very competitive guilds, you really did need people to be more on song. The smaller the guild size, the raid size rather, the more you are punished from, let's say, someone dying, or you know, or not quite doing enough damage, something like that. So what 40-man allowed you to do, while still being in a serious guild and being able to make good progress, it allowed you to have a social aspect to raiding that doesn't exist. Now, I'm not saying it's not sociable raiding. Obviously, in some guilds it is, some it isn't. But the primary concern with who you're taking is, are they our best people? Whereas you needed to take your best people, but that still left you a lot of space to take people who were good to have for morale. They were utterly useless. Give you an example. There was a hunter in the vanilla guild that I was in most of the time. 20 people carrying the other 20 is okay. Yeah. It's a game. It was fun. Ideally, you wouldn't have 20 people carrying 20. You might have 25 carrying 15. You know, there was a hunter on Nefarian. Every time the hunter call went out, and we would call it out as well. Hunters, change your bows. Every single time he broke his bow. He'd just be there. Even on the Nefarian kill, we just heard this voice go out. I've done it again. It's fine. It was a good laugh. It is not like that now. Could you imagine in a serious raiding guild, one that actually wants to complete the content, the idea of someone repeatedly failing, particularly on a simple thing? No. But what that means is that quite a lot of guilds are not very fun to be in. They don't have a fun atmosphere. I'll tell you another thing as well. It's a bloody sight easier to recruit. When what you need for about a third of your raid is just warm bodies, it's a lot easier to recruit. It's a lot less stressful. You did want good players, don't get me wrong. You wanted good players. But you didn't need all of them to be good players. Your Paladin in Bis Mythic Battle of Dazarlor gear is now on the same power level as a fresh character in Heroic Dungeon gear. I know, yeah, I didn't actually finish getting gear on my retail character, did I? I should do that at some point. But that's how it was. I mean, that's how it is with power gear. That's why Blizzard need to realise that more people are not actually... Obviously, serious players need the gear so that you can do the harder content. But you shouldn't, you know, the game shouldn't really be set up to desire power gear. It should be to desire, you know, development of your character. Cosmetic gear, really. And for Christ's sake, put player housing in. Oh, Hide of the Wild. That's a blast from the past. My Hide of the Wild cloak. I had that for so long. Hang on a minute. I've lost my hunter. I'm going to have to find a hunter trainer soon. Is that will be them over there. I'll have to work my way out to get to those soon. The thing is about, you know, say lazy people, I don't mind it.
I have urgent
because at the end of the day, if they were arseholes with it, then they didn't have to be in your guild. There were expectations in your guild.
Young one. I have urgent matters to attend.
Alright, that bow is not as good as mine, but I'll take it anyway. Oh, talent point. That's a point. Yes, we're definitely going Beastmaster, aren't we? Do I want that or do I want that? I probably want my pet not to be dead. And if I take improved aspect of the hawk, I'm more likely to pull aggro of my pet, aren't I? So let's go with pet health for now. And the druid will go into resto. The resto talent tree that makes no sense. Resto talent, do a thing when you turn into a bear. Okay then. Right, let's put on our better mark of the wild now then. Hang on a minute. Anyway, Alright, I'll get me level 10 quest from both of them, it seems.
What brings you here?
Oh, we've got to go to Moonglade. I won't be able to take the hunter with me then, will I? Actually,
Alone be with you.
what can I get? Moonfire? Rank 2. Oh yeah, different rank
Let
to
us
stuff.
watch over you.
Of course. Moonfire rank 2. Done.
Hello.
Mark of the Wild rank 2. Rejuve rank 2.
Alone light your path.
Teleport Moonglade. I guess this is where we part company. I'll leave my hunter alone for a little bit. It is actually just as well it's on the Druid. Otherwise I'd have had to abandon that for a bit.
I am honored. Farewell.
Right, let's have a look here. Druid. Seek out the Great Bear Spirit and learn... Right, okay. Which, is that just here? Northwest. Okay. Ba, ba, ba. I mean, I did quite like those catch-up dungeons in Cataclysm, because when I came back to WoW properly to intending to raid, it was at the end of Cataclysm. Now, I didn't actually intend to raid in Cataclysm. I intended to just ease myself into the game and then get going in MOP. But as it happens, those catch-up dungeons allowed me to get into a heroic guild, and therefore I was able to do Dragon Soul Heroic. Which was good. Actually, it wasn't good, it was terrible, but it was good to get into the raiding scene earlier than I'd planned. Oh, that looks like a bear spirit to me. I don't actually remember much about these Druid runs. I remember the seal quest, because you had to swim down to a ridiculous depth, which is partly the reason for wanting to make him an alchemist, so I can get unending breathing. So what am I supposed to do now? Oh, okay. And also, when I first saw myself as a seal in this game, it scared the shit out of me. There's something not right with it. It's deranged. What's a priest doing here? With the Mickey Mouse ears. Oh, there's a quest there. Hang on a minute. You did say to return. I'm not seeing something here. Okay, I'm obviously in the wrong place. while I'm here, I suppose I might as well see. Is this? Oh no, not really. Not. Okay, I'm now lost. For some reason cat form doesn't have a quest. Trainer just sells it to a level 20. I mean, okay. Well, that's quite handy, I suppose. Even though other ones tend to get a quest at 20. I don't remember. I mean, I remember the bear quest. I remember the seal one very distinctly. What I don't remember is where this guy is. That I need to go back to. Right, I'm sure it was over this side somewhere. He should come up as a dot, surely. Dendrite. Right. He's definitely out of range there. Where am I going? Oh, is he up there maybe? Might be up there. Yes, yes.
What brings you here? Go in peace.
Right. How does it want me to get back to Donassus now? Hippogriff, right. Oh, what's this? Oh, that's the wrong one. Alright, well I'm hoping this is not where the hippogriff is. Okay. Where is... It's a druid trainer. I don't want a druid trainer. I want a flight master, and I'm not actually convinced it'll take me to Donassus, but I can't remember. Oops. I don't want to thunder bluff that flight master, do I? Donassus flight
Goddess
master.
bless you.
Hooray. Good. Well, there were lots of different raiding went on in ICC, like Wrath of the Lich King. Like I say, raiding in vanilla and TBC was basically, if you were a raiding guild, you did the raids. And then in Wrath, there were different options available. Which slowly crystallised into the Mists of Pandaria 10 and 25 man, didn't it? My hunter's getting a bit bored here. As I'm heading back there, I'll just invite them back again. Let's have a look at this. So when I got 5 there, what would I do? I mean, part of me would like to do feral. But I don't know how realistic that is for dungeons. Probably better off just being a healer. Even though I really powerfully do not like Druid healing. I'm going to have some thoughts about the classes, which ones I end up crystallising on. How long for a mount? Another 30 levels. Feral resto, good for level. What do you mean? I don't know. I don't know. I like the idea of going down 2 talent trees at once, though. Of course, it is weird that, you know, you've got resto and you've got some, you know, but that was the thing, it was really weird, wasn't it? You know, you've got feral talents in the resto tree. Right, anyway, I'm just going to sort my hunter out. Can I... Let's just see if I do... Oh no, that's not going to work. I'm just going to try and find the hunter trainer, which you're not really going to see there at the moment, but hopefully this won't take long. Got to try and work out how to get them quickly. Oh, do you know what? Can healing level in dungeon? Yeah, oh yeah, don't get me wrong, I'm aware of that, but I don't know. I don't know. Because obviously while you're leveling, you're only building up those skills anyway, and the best ones are towards the end. I say I don't know, but I've now spent a talent point. So, and not necessarily one that does me much good at the moment. How long does it take, if you reset your talents, how long does it take to fade back to being cheap as hell again to reset? Because I could always just go for 10 levels, see what happens. Because these ones I've gone for anyway, those do nothing early levels anyway. They're just a way of getting you down. Don't know why I actually picked it. Can't always choose though with blah, blah, blah. You know, add your intellect gear. What is even add your intellect? Is that? Can't think what that would be offhand. It's not a tiger, is it? I've got to try and remember all these old names now. Right, where is the hunter trainer? I know they're over there somewhere. I didn't seem to access them via the tree, but let's just have a look. Oh, a falcon, okay, thank you. I saw the hunter trainer up here. Right, we'll run back up the tree. They're up there somewhere. Or is it up a different tree?
Greetings.
Oh,
May the stars guide you.
Okay. See, that is hunters. Oh, good.
Hello. Farewell. What brings you here?
Aspects of the hawk.
Del Nadris.
Which I suppose I will put on.
Ishnu Allah.
There's your dreaded enemy of the whale. What's going on? What was the whale?
Good luck, friend.
Stamina spirit. Okay. I mean, gorilla, I seem to remember, was strength and intellect. That was quite handy for paladins on balance. Right, they're all going very different ways here. I'll do the Dolinar one first. I'll get the hunter pet, I think. So much running around. I mean, the problem with paladins is you just needed everything. Particularly ret paladins, you literally needed everything. And this went all the way through TBC as well until they brought in the pre-wrath stuff. You needed strength, intellect, agility, spirit, mana, MP5, attack power, spell power. It's absolutely insane. Did Paladins share the game vanilla that literally had all stats on it? Druids and Shamans liked. I mean, ultimately what you end... So the way I approached it, I'm not saying this was the best way, because obviously, I was learning the game, same as everyone else. So the way I approached it is when I first started joining a serious raid guild in Molten Core, I mean, I knew nothing. Do you know what? I didn't even know Paladins could heal. This is how it went for me. It's just as well I didn't join my first raid guild. There was... whenever I tried to help heal in dungeons, you'd press a healing spell and it would do a piss poor amount of healing, and then, your mana would be gone. So I just had the impression it was just a bit of off healing you had. You were effectively like an off-tank DPS off-healer, and that's how it works in dungeons, and I was fine doing that. And then I was doing a Upper Blackrock Spire group, which was a huge eye-opener, without which I'd have looked like a complete tit when I tried joining a raid guild. And it was a really nice group, really good group. It was all going swimmingly. There were a couple of healers in it. There was a druid and a priest. And I just thought, yeah, this is going well, this is brilliant. But there was another paladin in the group, and he wasn't really doing anything. I was thinking, well, you know, here's me grabbing mobs off the tank so that he's not overwhelmed, and we're DPSing that one down first and all the rest of it. This guy's just sat back healing. What a spanner, I thought. And then when you got to the last room up in our spire, we cleared the room out, then we had a little bit of a break, a toilet break. And I decided to have a look at my meters, and I looked at the healing meters. And he was way at the top. He was doing way more healing than the priest and the druid. And I just thought, how's he doing that? What's going on? So I inspected his gear and saw all this mail gear with, you know, healing bonuses on and intellect and stuff like that. And I thought, ah. And I saw the hide of the wild cloak on him. I thought, I've never seen this gear. And I've been doing dungeons, I've never seen it. And I thought, bloody hell. So I started to try and find where this gear was and collected it myself. So that then when I did join a raiding guild, I didn't end up saying, when they tried to tell me, why don't you heal? I didn't end up going, what are you on about? Paladins can't heal. Because I would have looked a right dickhead. But what I noticed when I joined, there were a few other paladins, of course, but there were two in particular, two senior paladins in this guild. Actually, no, there were three. But there were two that had very different approaches. So one of them was a full-on healer. He just stood back and healed. Now, the problem with the 40-man raids is you sort of took 5 of each class, which was actually quite fine. That was all right. But that meant you had 5 priests, 5 druids, 5 paladins, 5 healing classes. 15 healing classes. You didn't need 15 people to heal all the time. Sometimes when it got a bit sticky, maybe, you didn't need 15 healing all that time. So I thought a lot of the time he's not really doing a lot. Then there was another paladin who just kept going full on DPS. And that was fine. But then there were times when actually the healing was a bit tight, and I thought, well, they should have stepped back and done a bit of healing, contributed to that. But they never did. But then there was a third paladin I noticed called Arathon. And he was the one I sort of latched onto as being the one I should watch, because he used to heal when healing was needed, and he used to DPS when DPS was needed. And that was the model I sort of went for. But you would mostly... And you needed some rets anyway to give you Blessing of Kings. That's not the case in the patch that this is based on. I've forgotten where I'm going. I should swap around, so I actually know where I'm going. Because in this patch you can, you know, you can do all your blessings and everything.
Peace.
And Blessing of Kings is in the protection tree and quite close to the top. Redwood Lurker.
Go in peace.
Oh, we should clear out the old bags as well. See you later, Deja.
Greetings. Goddess watch over you. Elune be with you. Elune light your path.
Actually, I should... Better. Oh, okay. Right. I want a spider. Sure, the spider's over here. Has it got to be a specific level of them? Tame a webwood lurker. Oh no, this'll do. I actually don't want a spider as a pet, so this will be short-lived. And this is a pain in the arse, of course, for hunters. You've got to keep your pet happy. feed the miserable bugger.
Ishnuala.
Although, for that point of view, if you want it just for a tanking pet, you get a bear, and bears will eat anything, so that's usually fine. What do you want me to do now? Night Saber Stalker, no problem. Do I have to get rid of this pet first? I'm going to have to dismiss this one, aren't I? Oi! I forgot dismiss means actually dismiss. Yeah, okay, I remember now. Oh no! Damn, wrong one. What? What? A Night Saber Stalker. Oh, that's just a night. Alright. It wants a it wants a bigger one. Bear or boar, yeah. Yeah, the boar, yeah, but bear, I think bears is what I usually tend to go for. I quite liked having a cat or a dog, a wolf, you know, eventually, but for tanking purposes, for solo purposes. I always use that really. And it would just eat anything. You know. You would obviously, it would encourage you to get some fishing done as well, because that was like the easiest way. That's just a normal Night Saber as well. I think I'm probably going to have to go for a while for this. Close to the Nasa, oh, thank you, okay. Okie dokie then. Really wish I could just think of which characters to do. Which classes? Because if I decide to do to go on the warrior, then should I drop his blacksmith in? I don't think the blacksmith is going to do me any good. Keep the mining and take up skinning. Right, it was up here, wasn't it? Up the Oracle Blade, I think. Hang on a minute, why aren't I tracking beasts? That would probably make it a little easier. Fun but boring to level. I mean, isn't everything boring to level, if we're honest? I mean, aside from the quests are of interest. I mean, what would you consider fun to level? Oh, that's an Elden lightsaber. That's no good. I've gone too far, have I? Don't want an Elder one. Right. If I find another one that's the same, I've gone too far. I think I've gone too far. Warlock and oh well, yeah, see, yeah, I'm not doing Horde. And Warlock, I'm not sure I agree with that. Pain in the arse. Absolute pain in the arse of doing... actually... I'll go on this couch so I can do the herbing. Warrior priest. I mean, I could be tempted to do warrior druid. Is what I'm thinking. I don't know why, because I don't like druid healing, but maybe I could learn to like it. Maybe I was just doing it wrong when I used to do it all those years ago. I shouldn't have dismissed that spider, should I, until I'd bloody well finished. That was a mistake. Pally Locker, amazing combo. Yeah, but I'm not doing a Paladin. I did a Paladin back then. That would actually genuinely be fruitless, doing a Paladin again. As I say, the Warlock is just... It's so dispiriting getting all the soul stones and having bag space to do it and then giving them all up again. Every time you log out, they're all gone. Yeah, the priest, yes. The wanding, that's true. Yeah, and druids can't use a wand. You're right. That's something to worth considering. I like druids, though, in other respects. I will have to give it some thought. What I'll probably do after this, because I'll try and find this Night Saber and just go back and sort of finish off tonight. I will have a think. I'm just gonna. I'll keep it on. When I've got a bit of time to spare to play other games, I'll probably just potter around on retail or something, and I'll just give it a think. That's just a normal Night Saber. What is... Oh my god. I want a Night Saber Stalker. Right. I am giving up. We're going back on this. He's doing my head in. How much experience with rogues do I have? Oh, I mean, I did... every alliance class to at least level 40 back in vanilla, and even though I didn't get them all to 60, I did make an effort to learn about them all in order to be, you know, a raid leader. And I did play them all then in TBC anyway. I mean, obviously certain things changed then. But when TBC came along, that's the point at which I did have everything at level 70. See, rogues are quite nice, but again, I just think to myself... Actually, on the main pass on the left-hand side, if you... Oh, on the left, okay. Alright then. Yeah, I can't get over this, you know. where on your beast tracker a druid in bear form will show up. Oh yeah, brilliant, thank you. There's one. Unfortunately, there's two. That could complicate things. And I should have put it back on aspect of the monkey, shouldn't I? One of the downsides of Rogue is their fragility. You can tag along with your own pocket here. You can put a con. Yeah, I mean that's that is sort of what I did. At the moment, what I've got is my. As I say, I've done a couple of little double acts. I've got a warrior mage combo. I've got this hunter druid combo, and then I've got a rogue. And I did do a warlock as well separately, but I've got a rogue priest combo. They're only like level 6-ish, something like that at the moment. Yeah, I mean that's worth thinking about, certainly. I could. The thing I'm thinking of, I keep thinking at the end of this, lack of AoE. Vanilla wasn't a big time for AoE, was it? I mean, the warrior priest combo may be better, I suppose, but not sure. But yeah, I'll have to overthink. Yeah, the thing with rogues, because I keep thinking about, you know, getting to level cap. I've not even attempted to ask in former guilds which realm they're on or anything like that. So I've no like aim to get into a guild with people I know or anything. So I'm not going to be. I am going to sort of be on my own on it, and I might join a guild, a social guild, but ultimately I'll be thinking, right, you know, if you play something that is highly desirable in a dungeon, and for that you've got a warrior tank, a priest or druid healer, a mage, because then you've got your conjured stuff as well as a portal at the end of it, which is always nice, as well as polymorph in there as well. I'm not sure. I mean, rogues are obviously decent DPS, but a mage AoE grind is amazing. Expert, yeah. See, I won't be doing that because I won't be pissing about with weak mobs, I hope. But anyway, I'm just going to turn this in. He's probably going to go and tell me to do to get a, I don't know what else he's going to tell me to get. Probably a bloody owl or something. Oh, I do hate flappy pets. I particularly hate it when I group with someone with a flappy pet. Yeah, he wants a flappy pet. I'm not getting a flappy pet. So what we are doing, I'm just going to leave that one there. I'm going to leave that one there. Thanks very much. So it's possible, I'm not sure because I have. It's pretty full on this week. It is possible I might put a stream on Tuesday, but for ESO, we'll just see whether I'll you know, put it on social media. Let's say Tuesday afternoon if I finish my stuff. If I haven't, then maybe next week. If I choose mage, pick bear druid with it. I'll have a look at the multi-boxing as well, because that could inform my choices. So I'll have a look at that too. So I'll probably leave this for a few days, maybe come back to it next weekend. But I'll put a poll out as usual for what people want me to play anyway. But if it ends up being classic again, that's when I might make a more firm decision. But thanks for coming on anyway. I'll see you later. Maybe Tuesday or on a different game, but maybe next week. Bye bye.